Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a look at Start Deck 100 and ask the question, are we getting these in the West? Is this going to be a thing? Are we getting this over here? And the answer is no. Well, probably not, but keep watching, because it's a qualified statement. I assure you it's going to make sense in a moment. Now, essentially, Start Deck 100 is this new thing that was revealed in Japan. And it's coming out in December. And it is, well, it's 100 different Pokemon decks. These are pre-built decks, which are randomly inserted, and you buy one of these packs and you get one deck at random, and the deck has been built and designed as a deck to play out of the box. It's just that there's 100 of them and you don't know which one you're going to be getting when you buy it. And there's probably at least 101. There's probably a secret rare, but they haven't told us that yet, so we've all got to kind of wink and nod and pretend we don't know there's going to be another one full of secret rares, even though there was last time, and there's blatantly going to be this time. And then some of these are actually like really nicely themed. So one of the decks has all four of the Ogapon in, which I think is delightful. One of the decks is cat themed and has a bunch of extra cats. One of them is Cynthia and Hop themed, which honestly seems a little bit try hard, but that's what they've gone for. And then one of them is kind of Pikachu themed, but then it's got all of the other cute little electric things, because there's one in every generation. And that's apparently a bunch of those in there as well. It's a very cool product. So are we going to get it in the West? Nope. Why am I so sure we're not getting it in the West? Two reasons. Firstly, I've not heard anything. Now, I don't work for Pokemon, I don't have any insider information, but I am checking distributors and retailers, and I am keeping my eyes open. And to put it bluntly, usually when something like this is coming, there's an inkling, there's something, there's a rumor, there's a listing, there's something out there which is telling us it's coming. I've heard nothing. But more importantly than that, we didn't get them last time. And then going alongside the fact that we didn't get them last time, these aren't really Western-style products. These are Japanese-style products. These are the kind of things that Japan gets that we don't. And it kind of is as simple as that. Now, there is still a little bit of hope. The hope essentially comes from, take the Gengar V Max deck. Let's take that as an example. That was a deck that came out over in Japan, and we said, and I said, well, we don't get stuff like that. These things don't come out for us. And they didn't. We got Gengar, and we even got the kind of cheeky little secret rare that was in like 1 in 10 decks. We got that just in Fusion Strike. It was just in a regular set because we didn't get decks like that. But then you can contrast that with a Mega Gengar EX deck, which came out in Japan, which was very much the equivalent kind of product to the Gengar V Max deck. And yet we did get that over here. They changed it ever so slightly. The branding's a bit different, but at the heart of it, it's the same basic product. So there is an argument here, and I don't think it's the strongest argument, but I need to acknowledge it because it is out there. There is an argument that we didn't used to get stuff like this, but now we do, so maybe we get Start Deck 100. To be clear, I don't think we're getting it. This strikes me as very much, like I said, a Japanese product and the kind of thing that they get that we don't. However, there is still a chance, because there is a bunch of stuff that we used to be able to say, oh, well, that's a Japanese thing. That comes in Japan. That doesn't come here for us. And yet, that's not necessarily as true now as it used to be. but I've still heard nothing about it. We've not had a product like this in the past. I don't think we're getting it. Other territories will, other Asian territories will, because they did last time, but I don't think we are going to be getting it. Boo, hiss, etc. But this actually matters, because remember, we've got that new Mega Charizard YEX, the one that for free energy does 280 anywhere on the field, just so long as you discard free energy attached to the Pokemon. And then, of course, you can just roll along and use Oricorio, which lets you attach as much energy as you like, fire energy, to your bench fire Pokemon, on the condition that you've got a Fire Mega EX in play, which you will because Charizard is a Fire Mega EX. And actually, yeah, this kind of works. This is cool. Where are we getting that? Probably more importantly, where are we getting Pokepad? Because actually, Pokepad is like legitimately one of the best cards we've had revealed this year. It's not an exciting card. It's not a fancy card. But it lets you search your deck for a Pokemon that doesn't have a rule box and put it into your hand. Basic. Evolution. Doesn't matter. Any Pokemon you like, as long as it doesn't have a rule box. It is ridiculous Pokemon search. You know, a good way to put it is it's Ultra Ball, but you don't have to also lose 2 cards from your hand. And yes, it doesn't go and get EXs or other rule box Pokemon, but there are some decks that don't play EXs, so they're good. There's a lot of decks that will play some EXs, so they'll still need some stuff like Ultra Ball, except they can now also play this as another option where they don't have to discard a bunch of cards from their hand. And then also, there are some decks that are largely EXs or entirely EXs that, to be fair, aren't going to play this, and that's fine. It's a ridiculous busted card. The problem is we need these. Oh, there's also Guy, which draws free cards. No one needs that. There's also a new Raichu they showed us, which isn't that good. You know, Mega Charizard and Pokepad are the 2 cards that we saw from this set already, where we can look at that and go, oh my word, that's kind of awesome. We'll take Kingler V Max. This was one of the fun new cards from Start Deck 100, because Kingler V Max hadn't had a card before. It was the only Kingler V Max. What happened to it? And Gengar has not had a lot of love in the Pokemon TCG, incidentally. There's been like 12 Pinsir cards, and it's a Gen 1 Pokemon. And there's been 12 cards. That's a little bit sad. Well, the V and the V Max from Start Deck 100, yeah, they came around in Brilliant Stars. It wasn't actually a particularly good card in the end of it, sadly. Again, Kingler gets no love. But these were brand new mechanically unique cards from Start Deck 100 that we really needed. They whacked them in there. Simicia V, again, was from Start Deck 100. And they just whacked it into Brilliant Stars. I'd rather have Start Deck 100, but we get it into this. And that's fine. We got it in the end. That's okay. There was a Greedent with just phenomenal alternate art. And this was an alternate art. Actually came around in Crown Zenith. It was just an alternate art of one that we'd already had, like back in Fusion Strikes, but didn't really matter. But the alternate art on the Greedent here was phenomenal. But they could wait until Crown Zenith because they were like, well, we've already got this card. It's fine. So the answer is they took these new cards and they just whacked them in sets for us. I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen this time, but I am saying it is the most likely outcome. It is the most likely way these cards are going to find their way over to us, because that's just a sensible way to do it, and it's also the way they chose to do it last time. So when you add up they did it before and it just makes sense, there we go. Like, we even had the Okacheke Wooloo, which wasn't even a Start Deck 100 exclusive. That was actually the Korokoro Start Deck 100, the special version, which only actually could be gotten by mailing away with a magazine, and that ended up in Crown Zenith. And honestly, losing out on Start Deck 100 is legitimately sad, because from a sealed standpoint, it's about the most fun sealed you can have. Like rocking up, getting a... And yes, I know some of the decks are going to be better than others, and sometimes you'll get uneven matchups, but playing Start Deck 100 with blind decks is really fun. Cannot recommend it highly enough. We're losing that. But there is also a very strong argument here that maybe we don't want exclusive cards to be in Start Deck 100. Because what happens if this Charizard becomes like a proper meta card and you've got a 1% chance of pulling the Mega Charizard Y deck? So now we got this really good playable Charizard and it might be in more than one. We don't know. But what if it's only in one and then like you buy one of these random decks, you got a 1% chance of pulling the busted Charizard? Can you imagine what that would do to the price of cards on the secondary market? It would not be fun. And that's a pretty strong argument for turning around and saying, you know what? Maybe it is better to just put them into sets, which then leads on to questions of, well, what set are they going to be in and how long are we going to have to wait to get them after Japan? And all fair questions, but very much answered with a wait and see. So there we go. That's what you need to know. We are probably not getting Start Deck 100, but we will get all of the cards. And that alone is pretty cool. But I've told you all about it now. So now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about all of this. Tell me what your predictions are. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Good us. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at Diancie. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, and all kinds of fun things. And get shout-outs on the channel, like the lovely Dojo, who's been a supporter of ours for a long time now and seems to be a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.